Hi friends, and welcome to today's class. For today, there are no props required, so whenever you have your space to practice in, go ahead and meet me on your back. Starting off nice and slow, finding your way onto your spine. And then one leg at a time, stretch everything out, arms lay wide alongside the edges of your mat, and just allow everything to fall open. Allowing the body to settle, start to feel a little bit heavier. Maybe you need a little shake of the legs, wiggling of the fingers to allow for that to happen, whatever fidgets you need. Relaxing all of the muscles surrounding your jaw, your eyes, your neck, your chest. Just remaining open for that energy being exchanged around you as you settle into your space. For a lot of today's poses, the focus is on the breath and being able to maintain the breath as we flow, as we shift from one space to the next. So go ahead and begin to explore a depth of breath, a rate that feels comfortable and maintainable for you as you flow through today's class. Feeling the rise and fall of the belly, the expansion of the rib cage as it lets even more air in, and then feeling everything come together as you exhale all the way out. Go ahead and reach the arms up overhead, reach the legs out long, reaching those heels towards the top of the mat, really stretching out the body like you're getting a big morning stretch, spreading all the way out from the hips, from the center of your body, and then begin to walk the legs over towards the right, keeping those hips nice and steady, and then bringing the arms up and overhead towards the right, coming into almost like a crescent moon, as if you're standing and exploring the side body stretch. Now focusing that breath into the left rib cage, relaxing that shoulder, opening space into that left armpit. And then go ahead and bring yourself back through center, nice and slow. And then slowly make our way over towards the left, walking our legs over to the left side, crossing that right ankle over top the left, and then bringing the arms up and overhead, creating that crescent moon shape, keeping those hips nice and steady. So the hips are staying where you started. Everything else is moving around it, like you're creating a bow with your right rib cage. Breathing in a little bit more air. Go ahead and bring those legs back towards center. Stretch everything up, top to bottom. And then go ahead and walk the feet flat, bending the knees. And then go ahead and bring those knees in towards the chest. Give yourself a gentle squeeze just to start. Feel free to rock side to side, nice and soft, working through the low back. Stretching out the low back, the backs of the hips, nice and subtle here. Come back towards center. Go ahead and drop that left leg long, keeping that right knee in towards the chest. Go ahead and lace those fingers just below the right knee, giving it a good squeeze in towards the torso. Find that compression to start, keeping the breath, feeling that connection. And then nice and slow, go ahead and bring that right knee over towards the left. Keeping that right shoulder anchored as best you can, keeping a reach of the right fingertips. Not only stretching through the hips, but creating an opening, a stretch through the spine, through the front of the right shoulder. Finding those deep breaths, always checking back in. And then come back towards center. Right knee back in towards the chest, bring that left heel back down. left foot meets the right, and then go ahead and bring that left knee in towards the chest. Right leg goes long. Find that compression. Left thigh to your torso, bringing that knee towards the armpit. Keep reaching that right heel toward the top of the mat. Trying to keep that length within the right leg. Breathing into that more closed off space. And then go ahead and bring that left leg over towards the right. Left fingertips reaching long in that capital T, keeping that left shoulder blade anchored onto the earth. As you find your twist. With every inhale, you're integrating. Exhale, you're settling. Letting that left leg fall a little bit heavier, a little bit closer towards the earth. Nice and slow, go ahead and bring that left knee back in towards your chest. Right foot comes back down to the earth. Left foot meets the right. And then keeping those feet nice and wide, just go ahead and windshield wiper the legs, the knees side to side. Finding a little bit of rotation within the hips, just to loosen things up. Loosen up the low back just a little bit more. Take it slow, move at your own pace. And then come back towards center. Bring the knees in towards the chest, and go ahead and grab hold of the outer lining of both feet, coming into happy baby. Exploring the back lining of the legs, bringing those knees alongside the body. The knees can be as bent or as straight as you'd like, whatever is calling for you in this moment. So you can keep those knees at a 90-degree angle, if you'd like to explore a straighter leg, feel free. That opportunity is always there. And feel free to find that rock or that stillness. And then go ahead and bring the feet back towards the earth. And then slowly roll onto your right side and pause, finding your way up to a comfortable seat at your own pace. Nice and slow. Feel free to close your eyes here or soften the gaze, finding a nice tall spine, reaching the crown of the head. And with that reach, feeling that anchoring in toward the earth through the sit bones. And just rest the hands on the knees. Finding your breath once more, exploring those inhales, those exhales. Inhale, arms sweep up and overhead, reach towards the sky, long through the side body. And then left hand comes to the right knee, right hand behind the hip, finding a gentle twist. Inhale, find length. Exhale, settle into your shape, not forcing, just exploring. Inhale, arms back overhead, reach them nice and long. Then go ahead and twist toward the opposite side, tall spine. Gaze can stay soft, or if you'd like to use your gaze to help create a nice trajectory for your twist. Then go ahead and back towards center. Inhale, arms up overhead. Exhale, hands come to heart center. Take a moment here. Maybe a moment of gratitude. Set an intention. And then go ahead and grab hold of the ankles. We're just going to come into a gentle cat-cow here in the seated position. So on that inhale, pull the chest forward. Exhale, round the upper back. Allow the shoulder blades to spread wide. Inhale, pull forward. Using your hands on your ankles as a nice little connection to help explore this movement. Exhale, round. Inhale, forward. Really puffing the chest out in front of you, flicking the tailbone back, and then moving in the opposite direction on that exhale. And then inhale, pull forward, exhale, round. Then on the next inhale, coming back into that tall seat. And then go ahead, come over the ankles, find your way at your own pace into tabletop position. And as you come into this shape, go ahead and find some movement right away. Toes can be tucked or untucked. Go ahead and give yourself a good warm-up of the wrist here, moving forward and back. Exploring your grip of the mat, pulling in that energy up through the arms, through the shoulders. And then go ahead and start to make some circles over the wrists, moving towards the left, coming through center, going over and back towards the right. One more time over towards the left, really working your way through the wrists, through the forearms. Pause in the center and then go ahead over back towards the right. And then as you come back towards center, feel free to flip your grip, allowing those fingertips so you're rotating that shoulder out, fingertips toward your knees, and go ahead and sit the hips toward the heels. Keep the heel of the hand anchored towards the earth as you pull the chest and heart forward. Gaze beyond the front edge of the mat, like a slight up dog of the chest. Then go ahead and come back to stable tabletop position. Find your shape, belly button in towards the spine. And on your next inhale, go ahead and find cow pose, lifting the sit bones towards the sky, pulling the chest and heart through the shoulders. Exhale, rounding, really pressing through the heel of the hand. Tucking the tailbone at the end before it goes ahead and lifts back up, finding cat, finding cow, and then rounding into cat. Tucking the chin in towards the chest, gentle engagement of the low belly as you pull everything in. Inhale, arching the spine, every segment at a time. Exhale, round. Inhale. Lift those sit bones towards the sky, really stretching and opening through the front body. Shoulder blades down and away from the ears. Exhale, finding the rounding, creating space within the upper back. Go ahead and inhale, come back to your stable tabletop position. Go ahead and kick that right leg out back behind you, keeping those toes tucked. And go ahead and explore some movement within the back line of that right leg. Shifting your weight forward and back just a few times. Working into the calf, the sole of the foot. Pausing at the end. And then go ahead and kickstand that left leg out and open, drop the right heel, open the body up towards the right side, coming into a gate pose. Really lifting through the right rib cage, reaching up and overhead with that right arm, grounding down through the outer blade of the right foot, really creating as much length as you can within the right side body. Go ahead and come back down towards your tabletop and we'll switch sides. Left leg comes out long back behind you, keeping those toes tucked, and move right into some sways forward and back. Working through the sole of the foot, really pressing that heel down and back behind you to lengthen through the calf. Then go ahead and kickstand that right leg out and open. Drop the left heel, open the body up towards the left side. Really lifting up through that left rib cage. Feel how that creates space between each and every rib, leaves a little bit more room for your breath. And go ahead and come back towards your tabletop position. Big toes to touch, allow your knees to come wide and sit those hips back, coming into child's pose. Take whatever variation feels good for you in this moment. Just allowing your back body to settle, to lengthen. Coming back into the breath as we slowly start to create a little bit more movement within the body. So finding a cadence that's appropriate for you, your movement. So as you find your breath here, feeling the lift at the back of the rib cage, really filling up every nook and cranny of the ribs, of the lungs. And then go ahead, tuck the toes, lift the hips up and back, downward facing dog. Feel free to pedal the legs, dropping one heel at a time, maybe bumping the hips left to right. Working your way into the back lining of the legs, exploring that hinge of the hips, really trying to lift the sit bones up and towards the sky. Whatever you need here in this moment, and then begin to settle into your shape. On your next inhale, right leg lifts. On the exhale, drive that right knee towards the right elbow, with the right foot coming outside the right hand. Pause in this low lunge, then drop the back knee straight down. Lifting the chest up and forward, really pulling it through the shoulders here as you stay high up on the fingertips. Maybe you'd like to bring your hands up to your thigh, explore a little bit more depth within the hips. Explore a space that feels accessible. Then go ahead and drop the hands if you came up onto that right thigh. Left hand stays down, right arm comes up and overhead, coming into a twisted lizard lunge. Keep hugging that right knee in towards the midline. Right hand comes down, sit the hips back in space, Ardha Hanuman, half splits pose. Lifting those right toes towards the sky, right leg is straight-ish. We'll come into this space a few times. So it doesn't have to be your biggest expression. Now, knowing that we're working our way through the length of our body, come back forward. Right knee meets the left. Press the hips up and back, downward facing dog. Find your breath. Next inhale, right leg lifts. Oh, left leg lifts. Driving the left knee towards the left elbow. Left foot comes outside, left hand, lift the chest. Find that lunge before you drop the back knee. Pull the chest and heart forward, gaze lifts out into the horizon. Feel free to stay here up on fingertips. Or if you'd like to bring the hands toward that left thigh to find a taller spine, feel free to move into this space if you prefer. Whatever allows you to feel more supported. Go ahead and bring the hands back down. Right hand's going to stay down. Left arm's going to open up towards the sky as you twist into your lizard lunge. Reaching the left fingertips up towards the sky, twisting the chest and heart over towards the left. Left hand comes back down. Sit the hips back in space. Ardha Hanuman, left toes lift. So as the tailbone lifts back behind you, the chest and heart are pulling forward. Feel free to have the hands out in front of you. They can be closer underneath your shoulders, whatever feels most supportive. And then come back into that left knee. And then allow the left knee to meet the right. Hips up and back, downward facing dog. In your downward facing dog, go ahead and take a breath or so. Settle into your shape. Reintegrate with the body and the breath. And then on your next inhale, go ahead and lift that right leg up and back. Drive the right knee up into that right elbow. Right foot plants outside right hand. Drop the back knee. Pull the chest and heart forward. Find that length within the spine. Gaze lifts, letting the hips fall heavy down towards the mat. Staying high up on the fingertips. And then everyone go ahead and bring the hands up to the thigh this time. Exploring your depth for just a moment. Using your hands on your thigh to help keep your torso up nice and tall. Hands back down to the earth. Left hand plants, right arm up towards the sky. Find that twisted lizard lunge. Right hand comes back down. Sit the hips back in space. Ardha Hanuman. Lifting those right toes up towards the shin. Maybe finding a little bit more length within the back line of that right leg. Shift the weight back into that right foot. Right knee meets the left. Hips up and back, downward facing dogs. Going right into the left side. Inhale, left leg lifts. Drive that left knee towards the left tricep as the left foot plants outside the hand. Find that low lunge. Come up onto the fingertips. And then slowly drop the back knee straight down. Reintegrate with that long spine. Maybe tuck or untuck the back toes. Hands come up onto that left thigh. Explore a little bit more depth within the hips. But stay supportive. Keep the low belly tucked up and in. Plant that right hand down. Left arm opens up towards the sky. Find that twist. Gaze up towards the top hand if that's comfortable. Then go ahead and bring that left hand back down. Sit the hips back, coming into that half splits. Squaring off the hips, reaching through that tailbone. Keeping that crown of the head targeting forward. Gaze follows. Shift the weight back into that left foot. Left knee meets the right. Downward facing dog. Exhale. Here for another few breaths.
Trying to keep our breath throughout our movement, but giving ourselves the opportunity to linger, to reintegrate. Inhale, left, right leg lifts, right foot outside right hand. Find that lunge and pause. Drop the back knee, feel that depth. Come out onto the fingertips. If you have blocks, you can always sink those underneath your hands if that feels more supportive. Hands come up onto the right thigh. Toes can be tucked or untucked in the back. Go ahead and sneak that right arm inside the right thigh. And then inhale, reach the left arm up and overhead. Explore side body stretch within the left side here. Using that connection between right arm, right thigh to help with that twist. Arms come back down. And then find that twisted lizard lunge. Left arm down, and then go ahead and reach and twist that right arm back in space, driving the left heel toward your bottom. You don't have to make the connection, just feel the energetic flow between the arm reaching back, the heel kicking in. Come back towards center, unravel, sit the hips back, half splits. Working into your shape, playing with the angle of that front foot. Shift the weight back into that right knee meets the left. Downward facing dog, exhale. Take a breath. On your next inhale, left leg lifts. Drive that left knee towards the tricep to bring that foot outside the hand. Pause in that low lunge until you drop your knee. Letting the hips fall a little bit heavier. Hands come up onto the left thigh. And feel free to shift in and out of this lunge as you see fit, but go ahead and slide the left forearm inside the left knee. Use that as your little point of connection to help with this side body stretch as you reach the right arm up and overhead towards the left. Again, toes in the back can be tucked or untucked, whatever helps you find stability here in this shape. And then go ahead and bring the hands back inside that left foot. Plant the right hand, left arm comes up and overhead. And then reach it back towards the back of the mat as your right heel kicks in towards your bottom, finding that twist, finding a little bit more activation here. No need to make the connection happen, just feel the energetic activation here within the upper body and the lower body. Hands come back inside that left foot, sit the hips back, half splits. Keeping steady with the breath, finding stillness, maybe finding some micro movements to settle into your space, into your shape. Shift the weight back into that left foot, left knee meets the right, downward facing dog. Take a few breaths here. On your next inhale, right leg lifts high and back behind you. Drive that right knee in towards the tricep. Bring that foot outside the hand. Pause in your lunge. Drop the back knee. High up on the fingertips. Hands come up onto that right thigh. Maybe come up a little bit taller. Right arm then slides inside that right thigh. Make that connection to help with that side body stretch as you reach the left arm up and overhead. Maybe gazing under the armpit. Pressing down through the top of the back foot, the back shin to help find stability. Explore a little bit more depth in your shape. Hands come inside the right leg. Plant the left hand to open that right arm towards the sky. And then big sweep back towards the back edge of the mat as you kick the left heel towards your bottom. Plant the back toes, right hand plants. Sit the hips back, half splits. Really trying to maximize the length within the spine, within the right leg. Shift the weight back, right knee meets the left, downward facing dog. Next inhale, left leg lifts. Exhale, drive the knee towards the tricep, plant the left foot outside the hand. High up onto the fingertips. Pause in your lunge for a breath. Drop the back knee. Giving yourself the opportunity to find your breath in every pose before shifting to the next. Hands come up onto the thigh. Let the hips sink deeper. Left forearm comes inside the left knee. Make that connection. Untuck the back toes for a little bit more stability as you reach the right arm up and overhead. Letting the hips sink heavy, but staying engaged through the low belly. Hands come back inside the left foot. Plant the right hand, left arm lifts up and overhead. Find that twisted lizard lunge. Find a little bit more depth as you reach the fingertips towards the back of the mat. Drive the heel towards the bottom. Feel the energy build, the activation intensify. Left hand comes back inside the left foot. Sit the hips back. Half splits. Trying to explore that compression between torso and left thigh. Really pulling those sit bones back in space as you use those fingertips to pull the chest and heart forward towards the top of the mat. Shift your weight into that left knee. Left knee meets the right, downward facing dog. Finding that expansion with the inhales, settling with the exhales. Always coming back to the breath as we spend a little bit more time in each particular pose. Trying to find that balance from upper body to lower body. Inhale, right leg lifts. Exhale, drive the right knee. Take a step or two to bring the foot in between the hands. Find a more narrow stance here in your lunge. And then inhale, coming into crescent lunge, arms reach up, arms reach up and overhead. Hips sink heavy, committing to that front right knee, driving through the back heel. Finding a nice and tall, powerful stance, strong within the legs. And trying to feel lightness through the torso as you reach the fingertips up towards the sky. And then spin that back heel down and make your way into Warrior Two. Feel free to come out of that front knee for a moment and then come back into it, recommit to that right knee. Fingertips reaching, pulling in opposite directions, but finding that integration, that steady totem in the center of your spine. And then go ahead and bring the right forearm to the right thigh. Inhale, left arm up and overhead. Find your side angle. Staying lifted within the right shoulder. Try not to sink into that arm. Come back into Warrior Two for a moment. Come out of that front knee. Reverse triangle. Allow that left arm to trace down the back leg. Spin the chest up towards the sky, trying to shine the right side of your rib cage up towards the sky. Come back towards center, bump the hips back in space, come into triangle pose. Right arm down, can be fingertips to the earth, fingertips to the shin, whatever allows you to stay lifted, to keep your shape within the side body. Left arm comes down to meet the right. Find a soft bend in that right knee to help shift you into extended pyramid pose. Spinning onto the back toes, finding a heaviness within that back heel. Bend through that right knee. Fingertips frame the front foot. Bring the right knee to meet the left. Come back into downward facing dog. Pausing here for a breath. And taking a few breaths here actually to help recenter, preparing to shift to the opposite side. Inhale, left leg lifts. Exhale, take a step or two to drive that knee in towards the collarbones to bring that left foot between the hands. Inhale, making your way up into crescent lunge. Driving that right heel back and down behind you. Sinking into that left hip, trying to settle into that left knee. But keeping that lift through the spine, using that reach of the fingertips to help find some lightness within their upper body. Spin the right heel down, coming into Warrior Two. Feel free to come out of that front knee for just a moment and then settle back into your shape. Adjust your stance as you need. Staying grounded within the outer blade of that back foot, lifted within the inner arch. So you're staying nice and supportive within that back leg. Pressing the hip points forward. And then go ahead and bring the left forearm down to the left thigh as the right arm sweeps up and overhead, finding your side angle. Coming back to your breath, finding those inhales and exhales. In every posture, we're pausing for some time to reintegrate. Come back into that Warrior Two for just a moment. Straighten through the front knee. Reverse your triangle. Right arm traces down the back leg. Left arm reaches up and overhead, trying to puff the left side of the chest up and towards the sky. Create that space within the rib cage. And as you reach up towards the sky with your chest, you're finding a little bit of lightness within the back arm. Come through center, bump the hips back in space, left arm down, right arm up towards the sky, triangle pose. Strong within the soles of the feet, within the inner arches, keeping that lift so you find support all the way from the earth through the hips. Staying light within the left fingertips. Right arm comes down, spinning onto the back toes to find your extended pyramid pose. Framing the front foot with your hands. Then always working towards that long spine by reaching the sit bones back behind you. Trying to pull the chest and heart forward. Bend into that left knee. Left knee meets the right, downward facing dog. Few rounds of breath here. We're going to work our way through the same sequence. So on your next inhale, right leg lifts. Exhale, drive the right knee forward. Take a step or two to bring that right foot between the hands. Pause in that lunge and then inhale up towards crescent lunge. Hips sink heavy, strong within the right thigh. Driving with the left heel to stay strong within the back leg. Reaching those fingertips up nice and tall. Drop the back heel, open up Warrior Two. Being strong and supportive all the way from the soles of the feet, through the thighs, through the hips. Right forearm comes down to the thigh, left arm sweeps up and overhead, find your side angle. Then find your breath. Inhale, come back to Warrior Two for just a moment. Straighten through that front leg. Inhale, reverse triangle. Really lifting up through the right side of the chest. Inhale up, find center, bump the hips back in space. Right arm comes down inside the right leg, left arm up and overhead. And gaze can lift towards the top arm. It can gaze forward, it can gaze down, wherever you need to find stability. Left hand comes down, frame that front foot, bend the front knee as you need to find extended pyramid pose. And then from here, go ahead and shift the toes towards the left side of the mat, finding a wide-legged forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, find your fold. Adjust your stance as you need to find this shape. And just finding a fold that feels good for you. So just exploring some symmetry here within the back line of the body. Inhale, halfway lift, plant that right hand. Inhale, left arm comes up and overhead, find a twist. Keep bumping that right hip towards the right as you reach the left hand up, trying to twist through the spine. Left hand comes down, plants. Right hand comes up and overhead. Working our way through that twist by continuing that reach up and overhead, but keeping that left hip driving back in space, keeping those hips as even as we can. Left hand comes to meet the right. And then go ahead and click the heels in, let the toes point out, and just sink into your hips here, like a goddess squat. Just finding some space, some movement for yourself. Maybe the hands plant onto your thighs, maybe finding a little twist here, dipping the shoulder left to right. Your opportunity to explore here. Again, finding symmetry. We've been working one side at a time. So just giving your body a moment to work together here in this space. Finding that forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. And on the exhale, come back towards the back edge of the mat. So that left foot's now forward. The right foot is back, coming up on that inhale into crescent lunge. Sink the hips low. And we're just going to work through that same sequence, working now on that left side. Go ahead and drop the back heel, open up into Warrior Two. And just take a moment here to find your shape. It doesn't have to be your strongest, your most integrated, your most activated Warrior Two. Again, we're just exploring our breath here, giving ourselves the opportunity to find it in every particular pose. Drop that forearm to the thigh. Inhale, the arm up and overhead. Find your side angle. Keeping that left knee nice and open, working into the inner lining of that left thigh. Open up Warrior Two for just a moment. Straighten that front leg. Reverse your triangle. Puffing the chest up towards the sky. Really maximize the length within the torso. Breathing into that space. Up through center, bump the hips back in space. Reach that front arm nice and long. Drop it inside the front leg. Right arm reaches up towards the sky. Right arm comes down. Frame that front foot. Spin onto the back toes. Extended pyramid pose. And then spin the toes back towards that left edge of the mat, the long edge. Find that wide-legged forward fold once more. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, find the fold. And try to find a hold this time around. So maybe grabbing the outer edges of both feet. Trying to find a deeper hinge, reaching the crown of the head towards the earth. Using that activation of the upper body, that connection within the upper body and the soles of the feet to really pull the torso long towards the ground. Inhale, halfway lift, and on the exhale, go ahead and bring the feet towards the top of the mat, coming into a forward fold at the top of the mat. And let's just find ragdoll here for a moment. Feel that gentle traction within the spine. Let the head, the neck hang heavy. Grab hold of opposite elbows. And bring a nice softness to the knees. Still keeping a lift of the sit bones up towards the sky. Just exploring a little bit more softness here in this moment. And then find a deeper bend in the knees, let go of opposite elbows and slowly unravel all the way up towards stand, finishing that inhale with the arms up and overhead. Exhale, cactus, driving the elbows towards the hips. Inhale, arms up overhead. Exhale, cactus, the elbows, the arms once more, opening the chest. Inhale, arms up overhead. Grab hold of the left wrist and go ahead and find a side body stretch as you curtsy over towards the right. Bring the left leg behind the right, bumping the hips towards the left. Inhale back towards center, grab hold of the right wrist, and then curtsy over towards the left, bowing over towards the left side, puffing the rib cage over towards the right, maybe gazing under the right armpit. Inhale back towards center. Exhale, hands through heart center as you slowly fold forward. Fingertips come down to the earth. Inhale, halfway lift. And then exhale, go ahead and find the sit bones down towards the earth and then slowly roll down onto your backs. Take your time getting there. Bringing the feet out wide, allowing the knees to come together to touch, arms rest out alongside your body, palms towards the sky. As the back body, the spine rests on the earth, feel the rise of the rib cage, the belly into the space above you, and on every exhale, feeling your body fall heavier into the ground below you. Just letting the low back release, the hips release. Maybe grab hold of opposite elbows up and overhead. And then keeping the feet nice and wide, go ahead and start to windshield wiper the knees side to side. Nice and slow. Pausing as you get to each end, really feeling the stretch as you rotate the hips in and out. Driving through the knees to really maximize that length, that intensity, that sensation. And move at your own pace here. You can move slower than I am, faster than I am. Linger a little bit longer. And once you feel like you've evened yourself out, go ahead and come back towards center. Legs parallel to one another, and then go ahead and cross the right ankle over the left thigh, coming into your reclined pigeon pose. Your legs can stay grounded, or you can go ahead and bring that left shin in towards the chest. Keeping the upper body, the back of the skull connected to the earth below you. Knowing that the greatest sensation you should be feeling here in this moment is within the hips. So if you feel like there is anything else that may be distracting you, take note of it, let it go. Go ahead and drop the sole of the left foot towards the earth, grab hold of that right ankle, and go ahead and let everything twist over towards the left, keeping your shape. Keeping that right shoulder blade anchored towards the earth. And knowing that we'll be here for a few breaths, make any fidgets or modifications you need. And then begin to settle. Bring your shape back towards center. Right foot meets the left. Go ahead, switch sides. Left ankle crosses over the right knee. Feel free to stay here or bring your shape in toward you, bringing that right knee in towards the right armpit. None of these shapes need to be the greatest expression. So move through a point or move to a point that feels good for you. a space that you're able to maintain while maintaining your breath, while staying mindful. And if you haven't already, go ahead and close your eyes, soften your gaze. Allow yourself to really settle in, and then drop the right sole of the foot down towards the earth, keeping your shape. Grab hold of that left ankle, twist everything over towards the right. Keeping that left shoulder blade anchored, reaching those left fingertips towards the left side of the room, so you can feel that twist all the way from the left shoulder, left armpit, across the body as your hips move over towards the right. And breathe into this shape, not forcing a breath, but trying to be as expansive as your body allows here in this moment. Bring your shape back towards center, left foot meets the right. Then go ahead and find happy baby pose, bringing the knees in towards the chest, grabbing hold of the outer blades of both feet. And feel free to rock side to side or find stillness. Find a bend in the knee that feels accessible. You can find a little bit more straight lower body position if that feels good for you, or you can keep the knees bent, driving those knees towards or alongside the body. Keeping those eyes closed to the best of your ability. I know I've mentioned the breath quite a bit, but that was the intention behind this particular class. Taking longer pauses in particular poses, not for strength, but to give yourself, your mind, your body the opportunity to settle in, to come back to the breath. Give your knees a squeeze, and then go ahead and roll over onto the left side. Then come back and find your way into a seat at the top of the mat. Any leg can be in front, whatever is comfortable for you, whatever makes sense in your body. And just find a tall spine. Come over, top those ankles, find your way into a child's pose. Knees can come in as wide as you'd like, big toes to touch. Just trying to explore length within the spine, the low back. And slowly walk the hands over towards the right, keeping that left sit bone anchored. Breathing into the left rib cage. Settling the chest heavy between the thighs. And only moving as far as your body allows. Walking the hands back through center, coming over towards the left. Right hand rests on top of the left. Anchor down through that right sit bone. And breathe in through the spaces between each rib on that right side. Walk the hands back through center. And then thread the right arm underneath the left, reaching those left fingertips nice and long. Adjust your lower body as you need to make space. Right ear falls down to the mat, gazing over towards the left. Finding a gentle stretch within the right shoulder. Subtle twist within the spine. And then right hand meets the left, unravel. And then find your twist on the left side. Left arm sneaks underneath the right, reaching those right fingertips up nice and tall towards the top of the mat. The left ear rests on the mat, finding that stretch within the left shoulder. The left hand meets the right. Take a breath here in your child's pose. Walk the hands back up towards your knees. Bring your knees together and then go ahead and find an embryo pose. So bring the forehead down to the mat. Arms rest alongside the legs, alongside the body. And you're kind of in this little egg shape, this very closed off, introverted space, but a very supportive space. Feeling the support of your front body resting on your thighs, how your shoulders are falling heavy around your knees, maybe even around your neck, so it's closing off the front or the top of your body. Letting everything fall heavy. And then go ahead and bring your body or your belly straight onto the mat. So bringing your body forward. Stack your hands on top of each other and just bring one ear towards the top of your hands. Maybe rolling out the hips side to side. On every inhale, feeling the belly press into the earth below you. Feeling that push the back of your rib cage up into the space behind you. And we're going to come into a few rounds of oscillating cobra just to work our way into the upper back. So find your fingertips 10 and 2. Nice and slow on your inhale. Nice and slow unravel. Hips fall heavy. Exhale, lower down. Moving nice and slow at your own pace. Inhale. Gaze lifts at the very end, and then once that happens, you exhale and fall. On the next inhale, up through center. Maybe on the exhale, you drop the right shoulder in towards midline. Right ear falls. Inhale, up and back through center. Exhale, left shoulder falls. Inhale, up through center. Pause here. Really find that expansion within the front body as your hips fall heavy. Exhale, nice and slow. Chest comes back down to the earth. Hands stack on top of one another. Bring your opposite ear towards your hands and rest. Bring your hands underneath your shoulders. Press your hips back towards your heels. You can come into a child's pose or you can come into a seated position on your shins. Keeping your eyes closed. Palms on your thighs, on your knees. Then go ahead and bring your hands to heart center. Thank you so much for practicing with me, and I look forward to seeing y'all next time. Have an awesome day.